welcome to the Authentic Happiness Show. And I will welcome my friends in to join us. Hello, friends.
Hello. How are you, Susie?
Hello.
I am excellent.
Was that intro silent or was it just my computer? Like, because I don't know if my
there was
internet's
noise.
having issues.
I heard it. It was a singing.
Oh, it's weird. Okay.
I was starting to dance.
Okay.
Yeah, me too. I danced to it too. Jara, how have you been for the last couple of days? I haven't talked to you.
Yeah, I see that. I think my internet's choppy because you guys keep freezing.
Oh crap! It's okay. Just muscle through. Unless it's really bad, let me know. Because I hate that. It always
I've been
causes.
okay. I got my my box spring that we turned into a flower bed.
Ooh.
Is it growing?
Can you
I
hear
think
us?
she froze. Maybe we froze,
It's
or she
really
froze.
bad. The delay.
Yeah, you may want to try
Maybe
jumping
go
out and
out.
coming back in.
Yeah, go back out and go back in.
I think so.
Sometimes my phone works better than my computer. Isn't that weird?
Yeah, let me try. I'm gonna go out and come back in.
Okay. Well, come on back in when you get. Oh. Okay. Just dropped something. Hey, Bat Mom. Hiya. How you doing? So I think she popped out, and that's okay. That's very cool.
Works. It's weird.
You know what we were going to talk about tonight, Enzo? Me and Jara, we were just bullshitting one day, and we were asking these really weird questions, but they were very valid questions, but they were really off the wall. So we were going to ask questions, and we were just going to hit you with them too, so you could give your 2 cents about these.
I have questions for you too, since you kind of ducked out last week to avoid any pointed eclipse questions.
Right. And we want to talk about the eclipse. Nothing happened. We're still here.
Oh, Jara is. She's gone.
Oops, and there she goes. She's fixing it.
Yeah.
Let's talk about that. Let's talk about what you gathered. Your equipment. Let's talk about what you have. If you have any clips, please show us.
Oh, yeah, I got a clip. Well, let me see. Let me just start at the beginning, I guess.
Yeah, give us the whole enchilada.
Well, we'll run through the whole thing. This is if you look at my share there.
Okay.
This is my little tiny mobile smart telescope.
Oh, cool.
A white thing here. This is the Dwarf 2. It's got 2 lenses on there. It's got a wide angle and a zoom type lens on it, and it comes with these 2 solar filters that I installed. This orange, this is a little solar battery bank thing that I had plugged into the USB part because I wasn't sure it could last 3.5 hours on the regular battery to film the whole eclipse.
What?
And so I set that up.
My internet just isn't working very good.
That is a cool thing. Jared, look at that thing. And you would probably dig that.
What is that?
This is my new smart
it?
telescope. It's a smart telescope, this little white part here that I have sitting on a tripod, where you can set it up to, it works through your phone, through Bluetooth, where you can set it. It's like, show me this nebula. Click, and zip, 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 zooms in. You don't have to do any alignments or anything like that. It'll take you right to it. And I used it to film the eclipse from my place, a couple weeks ago when we had the eclipse. And
so can you see it on a screen, like what it sees or something?
Actually, one of the things, you can see it, like when you have the app on your phone, you can see it on your phone pretty clearly, but it saves both video or pictures, and it does it in 4K, so it looks pretty good. And I was messing around with it a little bit, and I figured out a way to wire it into my OBS. So I ended up using it as the background live, where people could see the eclipse going on while I was on a friend's show where we were talking about the eclipse. And you'll notice a couple of dark spots here. You could actually pick up the sunspots on the sun which
Ooh,
you know,
cool.
Oh, wow.
this is the NASA picture of the sunspots of the day of the eclipse, where you had this little cluster here, and this one you can actually, if you look closely at the video, there you can actually pick up a little of these. These other ones are really way too small for my little jobber to pick up. But when I
Ooh.
originally
That's cool.
set, yeah, and I basically set it up to film the entire things. It lasted about 3.5 hours. I only got to like 88% totality where I live. I think when we last spoke, my plan was to drive 5.5 hours to the middle of nowhere, Arkansas.
Yes, and I told Susie that I told Susie that I'm not glad that you didn't go for you, but I'm glad for me that you didn't go.
Whoa, why is that?
I was worried because I don't know. I just think it's weird how they were trying to get people to go like into the direct path of totality. It was just weird the way they were all like,
Well,
make sure you drive all the way into the total. Right. What were they planning on doing? I don't know I don't trust the government. What they drop on those people,
I don't,
Well, the government didn't. The government should have checked with their weather people, because from the area I was going to go all the way south down through Texas, all the way to Mexico, complete cloud cover. So that's why I ended up at the last minute.
Well, I heard that there was like more chemtrails on that day than like the whole year, and that a lot of them were concentrated in that area. So that's why I say dropping stuff on people.
So I don't know.
So I don't know.
So
with your telescope, can you look at Jupiter's moon and its moons? Are you able to like?
Yep.
That would be cool. You should look at Jupiter and its moons. That would be cool to look at.
It's been pretty cloudy and crappy here lately, because I was like, tonight I could have set it up to point at something and have it in the background like I did in those other pictures that we were looking at, where I'm just in the background. It would just be like right here.
That'd be cool.
Where we get a live.
Do that with Jupiter.
Yeah, if we have
a Jupiter out while we're on.
I think that would be hella cool.
But it's not without its problems. I had this is the video that I shot that this is the original file sped up. Obviously, it didn't go this fast, and you can see how it kind of wanders all over the place. I hated it.
Why is the dim? Why is the sun like? Is that just the atmosphere that's making it dim?
Well, let me switch to a different video. This one I stabilized that original video we just watched, so it looks more like this. And I'll just put this on a loop while we talk about it. But the reason why it's like dimming a little bit sometimes. What?
That is so cool.
But the reason it's dimming a little bit is I did have some like really high thin clouds that got thicker and thicker as it went on for 3.5 hours where I live. So that's why you might see it kind of dim a little bit. During the live, when I was looking at it, I like a bird flew in front of it and stuff like that. Whereas it's like just a little dark. But at the very, very beginning and the very end of this, when you'll see.
You know what that looks like to me?
Like an egg?
That's neat.
But this is one of that one big sunspot, and here's the other one that we showed on the other picture, which also, if you'll notice, I'll go to the very beginning here. See the direction that these are angled at as the day progresses, because the sun, as it goes across the sky, much like how like where my wrist is on my hand, it's arcing through the sky like this. It maintains that same position. So you'll see the rotation, because I'm just, looking directly at the sun with the camera, is you'll see that these things kind of rotate kind of clockwise, just a slight amount as it goes through the whole thing. You'll also notice, for part of the same reason, how the shadow of the moon moving in front of the sun comes in from the lower right, gets to about right here maximum, and then it kind of moves up and to the left. And that again is like a perspective kind of thing, sort of like if you were 100 yards away from like a set of train tracks that are going in front of you, they're just straight all the way to the horizon. If you narrowly look one direction, it would kind of look like it's angled away from you. You look at it in front of you, it's parallel. And you look the other direction, it kind of seems to be going away from you. It's the same idea here with how the moon travels in front of the sun.
Oh, that is so cool.
But for what it was, because honestly, that little telescope is for what it does, it's actually pretty affordable, and it's super cheap. Well, I shouldn't say super cheap, but it's relatively cheap for all the stuff that it does. So still more to come with some experimenting and stuff like that with the telescope, taking some deep space photography and stuff like that. We'll see how
That
well.
is super cool.
So
I think that would make a really good show. There's people that do that on TikTok. They just put their telescope on and go live.
yeah, a lot of people do that.
It's really
But
cool.
anyways,
Hi, Uncle Bone. That is cool.
That's what I
looks
caught
like an egg
during the
thing,
eclipse.
like the yolk. It looks like a yolk.
Actually, it had the telescope has filters in it where you can sort of change how the shade is. I could have made it bright. Actually, I probably would have made it a little more bright yellow if I'd known that it's as dark as it looks, and especially in the latter part, like this part where some of those clouds were moving in. But still, I was shocked to see those sunspots in there and everything else. It came
So
out
those
really better
sunspots
than I
are
thought.
where the flares happen, where solar flares happen, or
Pretty much, it's basically a cold spot on the sun, where because the surface of the sun, because of all the particles that are swimming around in there, have little pockets of magnetic fields around it, and sometimes they kind of cluster together and kind of section off a large section. Because that largest one in the middle, this big one right here in the very middle, Earth easily could fit inside of that. That's how big it is. It's giant. And basically what it does is it creates like a cold spot on the sun, and that because those magnetic lines of influence around there kind of wall off this area, and it ends up kind of creating like a magnetic bubble. And sometimes when it gets big enough, the actual matter of the sun starts following that magnetic line, those magnetic lines of force, and it'll basically pop like a bubble, and that's what spits off all of those flares and things like that.
that is really cool.
But that's what I was doing during the eclipse. And
So do you like crack some beers and watch the eclipse, or do you get
Oh yeah. Well, I maintained sobriety just because I wanted to make sure it all worked. There was actually one point where I was afraid that it wasn't tracking, because that original video I showed where it's kind of going all over the place, where I went out and manually recentered it and set it to track again. And it seemed to do okay for a little while, but eventually it started spinning all over the place. But I was able to go back and through video editing, recenter it all.
Neat. What did I do for the eclipse? Oh, I didn't even see any of it. What day was it again? Was it on Wednesday, or what day was it?
It was on a Monday, week and a half ago.
Yeah, I didn't even watch anything like on TV or anything. I was so busy that day. Just so busy.
You're going to have to wait 21 years till you can see it again.
Yeah. I don't know. Yeah. I don't feel like I missed it. I mean missed anything. I kind of know, we know what's going on, and I didn't really think anything was going to happen though. I wasn't like everybody else that thought something was going to happen. I did think it was weird. I thought something was going to happen, but not with the sun or the earth or the natural cyclical things. I thought maybe people were going to act stupid or something,
Yeah. I honestly, even, because they had all this kind of scare tactic they threw out there that all these states were going to be in a state of emergency and all this stuff because of all the people they were expecting to be on the roads traveling and stuff like that. Yeah, nothing came of it.
Wasn't.
Traffic was fine.
it's all propaganda. Everybody just plants stuff in each other's minds. I can't wait till we all like just think for ourselves again.
Danny Statton says Magnum PI called in the 80s and wants his shirt back. That's right.
Well, I for one love Magnum PI and his shirts. Thank you very much.
Actually,
Hello,
just ordered
Danny
some
Stanton.
new.
So let's see here. So Jara had some really good questions. Her questions were the ones that were what brought this whole subject up. She had a really good one. I hope she comes back on because I want her to say it because it's like a mind boggler.
Yeah, she should come back.
I know. I hope she does. I don't know if she will though. Yeah, I've just been really busy with clients and I'm trying all kinds of new things to network myself and market myself. So I'm kind of sticking my feet in everywhere I can and I'm enjoying it. So when I say I'm busy, it's not a bad thing. It's like a really, really exciting, great thing. So I don't want to sound like I'm complaining because I'm so not. I am enjoying myself so much doing this stuff. So I feel like the best version of myself right now and I'm just really enjoying everything that's happening.
That is excellent.
Yeah. So we were at this sale and me and Jara were kind of just bored sitting there talking and we just started coming up with these crazy questions. But they were crazy, but they were valid. It was the whole point. So we're like, we should have a whole show on valid, crazy valid questions. So that's what we're doing. Were you going to say something?
Actually, before we jump in, since you were talking about business and how well everything seems to be going, I've always meant to ask, with the current economy and stuff like that, have you seen a increase in patients or a decrease? Because decrease because maybe people can't afford it, or an increase because people can't afford anything and they need some assistance.
I'm seeing like an increase because pardon my French, but the medical system and a lot of people are not trusting their doctors anymore. And a lot of people are believing, the truth is coming out and they're believing it and which is right, which is what they should, because we can all heal ourselves. We don't need these toxic drugs they're putting us on. These drugs are that people are figuring out that most of these drugs are to keep you sick and to keep you paying more. So, and lots of people are finding out these things.
Almost like a really big event affected the entire planet. And it turns out that was all BS. Huh.
Yeah.
Wow. I wonder why people are doing that. That's kind of curious.
It's ratchet. It's the worst, most ratchet thing we've ever seen. And so people are like, people are done. People are done with that. And people are, I think it's just a natural, like, how everything happens in cycles, like the eclipse and like everything. I think it's all in cycles that everybody feels it within them. I mean, we all have a mind, we all have a body, and we all have a spirit. So all three of those things give you the cues to tell you what's right for you and what's not right for you. And there's nothing that the government can do to take that away from you. So, discernment, it's your own personal bullshit meter. So my advice is for everybody to like pay attention to your body, listen to yourself, because you are the authority on your life. You are the expert in you. So listen to yourself and it will make for a path of least resistance. And that's what you want.
Yeah. Unfortunately, a lot of people, they do. I mean, a lot of people do that and avoid going to the doctor and having them run batteries of tests you don't need just to say, oh, you're fine.
Yeah. And then they don't
$700 for all those tests that we did. Yeah. People, don't go to the doctors because of that and various other reasons that we just discussed.
Yeah.
But you do need to listen to when your body's giving you those warning signs that you maybe do need to really go to the doctor.
Right. You're so right. And so I'm so glad you said that, because I was in the medical field for a long time. Okay. Over 25 years. And I was all about it. And now the person who always went to the doctor, who always paid attention to what the doctor said, all this shit, I'm afraid to go to the doctor. I don't want to go because I don't want the bullshit. I just don't want to deal with the bullshit. And because it'll upset me so much. So like that's not a good thing because maybe I need to go to the doctor, but I don't think I do. I thought I did, but I'm totally good now. So like, but next time I need to get my shit together before that happens. So I need to get in here and tell myself, you know what's right for you and do what I need to do. Like be strong enough to do what I need to do. And I will be.
Yep.
I will be because I know I will be because I just said it right now and I felt it. But there's people out there that are struggling with it because I know I am. And so, yeah, so I see an increase because people don't want to go to their doctor anymore. They want to try something different.
Right. Obviously, you know what you're going to get when you go to the doctor. They're going to
and
sign
so
you up for a bunch of tests you don't need and shovel
right.
pills at you that you probably don't need and things like that. I'm like me personally, not a recommendation. Don't follow my advice. I'm like an ER emergency room only kind of visit to the hospital.
I don't see anything wrong with that. At least you go, you know, when you need to. But the last couple of times we've gone to the emergency room, it's been a shit show.
Yep.
And it was pretty serious things. Like, yeah, when my husband cut his finger on the table saw, it was pretty odd. It was pretty weird. It's not the same anymore. We're lucky. We're just lucky that everything worked out, though. Scary, man. Scary. You know what else? Now that I am, you know, increasing in age, the nurses and doctors and cops are all starting to be younger than me, and that's a trip. I don't like it.
Yeah.
Because it's like this one guy that came to one of our I don't know what happened. We had to call them for a fender bender or something, and it felt like he was asking us like for permission, and we were like, "You're the cop, dude!" like, like, come on now. So like, I don't know. So it's just weird. The world is weird right now. So I think everybody should just take it upon themselves to take really good care of themselves, and you know, everything's gonna be all right.
Yeah, I think we're at a point where everybody just needs to step back from everything and take a breath.
Yeah.
Stop putting this in your face and reading everything on that and just take a break from all of that kind of stuff, because that's gotta cause more anxiety than anything else.
Definitely.
You know, just going through Twitter and especially like world events as they're going on like right now. People are scared. You know, people don't know what to do because you know, when there was an attack on a different country here like a week ago, I was looking at my Twitter timeline and all the younger people are like, "It's World War III, we're all gonna die." Yeah, totally losing it. And you know, from their perspective, you know, their lives have been fairly protected and no, you know, nothing like that, you know, to that level has ever popped up. Whereas like you or I, were, you know, people of a certain age, where we grew up in an environment where we were one button push away from nuclear Armageddon every second of every day. It was like,
it was hitting the fan all the
time. Yeah. You gotta live your life. You can't, if you sit there and stew on, you know, the woulda, coulda, shouldas that could happen every day, you're gonna miss out on life where
you're absolutely right. You are absolutely right, Enzo. And like that's what I'm all about. That I'm all about promoting. I think everyone, no matter who you are, what you do, how cool as a cucumber you are, I think everybody should have a neutrality practice. Do you know what a neutrality practice is?
I can guess, but I'm sure you have a better definition than my guess.
So. Yeah, it would be like meditation. It would be like sitting in prayer. It would be like taking a minute to do something else. Like it doesn't even have to be prayer or meditation. It could be fishing. It could be painting. It could be playing an instrument. It could be just walking, jogging, exercise. Just something to get out of your thoughts. You got to tell your thoughts to be still. And so when you have a neutrality practice that you practice at least 15 minutes a day, that's it at the you know, the minimum. Just that will help people to not be so reactive. It'll help people to get that pause practice before they freak out.
I feel like one of those kind of neutrality type practices you talk about is, which is brilliant, by the way. I feel like one of the things that a lot of people do is they'll watch a movie or they watch their favorite TV show or something like that,
Anything. Yeah. Well,
and
yeah.
or play a video game. But a lot of that content the last few years has kind of sucked.
Yeah,
Movies
it's
and
not
TV.
helping. Right.
So they don't have that outlet. That's why you get 10-year-old shows that show up on Netflix from a USA channel, Suits, and everybody swarms on it because they're like,
Yeah.
oh man, back when they kind of knew what was going on with making a story. And people just swamped it, even though there's a brand new, billion-dollar movie that just was also released at the same time, and nobody's watching that because they know it's kind of crappy.
They don't make them like they used to.
Yep. But watching that old content, and
are you watching something old right now?
Something old. I'm actually in the middle of usually it's usually a summertime thing, because traditionally you would have like new programming in the fall and over the winter on under that regular TV kind of scenario.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And it used to be the summer I have like a collection of DVDs where I'll watch all the Star Treks, or all, like right now I'm kind of checking in on Amazon to if there's nothing else going on and I'm tired of sitting in this chair in front of the computer or something like that, I'm doing a rewatch of Stargate, like SG-1 and Atlantis and all of that stuff. And I have last Christmas I bought the whole entire series box set of Supernatural that I haven't even cracked open yet.
That's a long one. That's a lot of seasons.
That's a lot. It came in this giant box of DVDs. It's like, wow, this is going to take a while to go through, but that's good. That's kind of what I want, is something that I can just go back to. And I'm still a DVD guy over streaming, because your favorite show streaming, don't get me wrong, streaming is way easier. And it's all categorized. You don't have to physically get up and move a DVD around to watch the next one and stuff like that. It is certainly easier, but whatever you're watching it on, because there's so many different streaming platforms, you can't have all of them. And you got to find the one that has the show that you like, and over time they may pull it from there and it goes to one of the other ones. It kind of moves around. So if it's something you really enjoy, that you like to do, you'll periodically go back and watch it every once in a while, every year or two. Like what I was just talking about, just buy the DVD set. Then it's in your house. You don't have to worry about anyone editing it or saying, oh, this one episode where they had this happen, that's not socially acceptable anymore, so we're going to delete that one from the servers, which has happened. Certain shows. Just buy the streaming is okay, but if it's something you really enjoy and you really treasure that you would watch every once in a while, get physical media. That's the way to go.
We have way too many streaming. We have way too many of them. I think we need to cut some of them out that we don't use, because they're just wasting money.
I think you're going to see over the next couple of years a lot of those that popped up a few years ago when everyone was locked in their house and you're kind of glad you had them. They're going to go away because they're not the money maker that a lot of people realize. Everything's like, oh, Netflix makes all this money. Yeah, it took them about a dozen years to get where they're at now. But you can't just start it up. And what they were doing is they were pulling all of their resources, because they would lease out, like they're like, Paramount wants to say, oh, Netflix, you want to have, you're authorized to watch all the Star Treks on Netflix, and they would pay them a small fee to kind of basically rent them where they're broadcasting it out, where you can stream it on Netflix, and that's good for a number of years with whatever the contract is. And then once that's up, it'll leave Netflix and it'll go to Amazon or something like that.
Yeah, we did that. We did Star Trek, all of them. It took us, I don't know, it took us a while.
Yeah, there's a lot of Star Trek out there.
It took us a while, but we would just watch so many in one day, like especially when we were, while locked up in the house.
One of the other things I do, rather than go to like my DVDs thing, is there's now channels that they have it's set up like its own TV, like a TV channel, but like Pluto and a couple other streaming type things where they have specific Star Trek. Pluto, I think, has 3 different Star Trek
cool.
channels.
Yeah.
You know, and
that one comes with all the TVs, right? Or do we order that one, Pluto?
It's totally free.
Yeah.
It doesn't cost anything. It's just a free streaming. It still has commercials in it, but they're short commercials. You know, it's like maybe a minute or so.
Yeah,
and it's got a little timer in the corner, so you know exactly how long you have to go up and grab a snack or go to the bathroom and stuff like that. So which I like that, where it's got the timer in there where you know exactly.
But I forget that there's going to be a commercial, and then they always put it in the weirdest spot.
Sometimes they really are bad about that. But there's a lot of shows like I'm an old school Doctor Who guy. There's Tubi is another one that it has all the old school Doctor Who's on it, all the old black and white ones from back in the 60s, all the way up until when they canceled it, like in the late 80s originally, and then it came back as a whole new thing. But they have all the old ones, and they even have them separated by the doctor that you like and stuff like that.
That's cool. That's cool. Yeah, I had to watch all.
It's all free.
But I like Doctor Who also. But I have to watch a lot of things with my husband that I don't like. But I do like Doctor Who, and I did like the Star Trek. And we were watching. Oh shit, I can't remember what it's called now. It's about cops, and it's got the guy from The Mandalorian in it, and it's called shit. I can't remember, but it's a really good show. It'll come to me. It's at the tip of my tongue.
My last girlfriend was really, and this was of course years ago, was you mentioned you watch shows you don't necessarily like, but your husband likes them, so you watch those. My girlfriend at the time had she was big into this one show, and I was like, this looks dumb, I don't know. And I started kind of getting into it, which was Burn Notice from the USA.
Oh, that's a good show. I like that show.
It's actually really good. It was way better than I thought.
Yeah, that is a good show. I like cop shows. I like detective shows. I used to like ER, but then I just couldn't watch it anymore. It's just too much. I always caught mistakes in it, so I was like, no.
Right. That's why there's certain shows you just can't watch. Once you learn more about it, and you realize, oh, they're kind of messing that up. They're doing the wrong thing.
That you can't do.
That would never happen.
Yeah, I know it. I know.
When I was in the Air Force, we'd always watch like these like military type movies, especially if it had planes in it. We were there and we'd rip it apart.
Yeah. Yes, I know. Yep. Everybody does with all of their stuff. Everybody does that with everything with their job. We can't go to like a housewarming party, me and my husband, because these people just bought their house, right, at a housewarming party, and he's sitting there like doing this thing with his foot to see if it's level, and like because that's his job, that's what he does, and he'll tell them all these things that are wrong with their house right when they first bought it. So I'm like,
yeah, that advice is like gold to someone when they're shopping for the house. Right. After they've already bought it, it's like, I don't want to know.
I know.
Just don't want to know.
What a bummer. I know. But it's hilarious. Now I think it's hilarious. I just let him do it now. So yeah. I really wanted Jara to come on and ask her a question, but let's see. Let me shoot you a question. Let me see what I have here. Okay. This is a really bad one, and I don't really want to know it, so I don't think I should ask it. It's a murder one, so I don't want to ask you that one. You don't seem like the murdering type.
I used to have way back in my younger days, I used to have a really bad temper, and I would think nothing of crushing someone's skull back in those days.
Oh, you were like a fighter? Would you beat someone's ass if they bothered you too much?
I would certainly, it usually came to, because I'm kind of a bigger guy, and I was never a bully about it, but if somebody was being annoying, I would let them know.
Yeah, that's
but,
cool.
I have since matured and gone to a happier place in my head where I don't let things like that bother me as much, because I used to be bothered by it a lot. Just people just being dumb. That's my thing, is I have like a 0 level tolerance for stupid.
Right.
It's like, what are you doing?
Maybe men at a certain age, because I remember Matt, there was like this chunk of time where he didn't have tolerance for anybody being stupid, and he would just tell anybody up, or like road rage. He would, I mean, he wouldn't just flip somebody off. He would like bring it all the way around and follow through with it, and it was just like horrible. But he didn't like that anymore. So maybe something happens to you guys and you calm down.
I was never a road rage guy, really, ever, but I would certainly, I mean, I'd get mad when people were doing something stupid on the road, but I usually kind of try and be aware of the whole situation. So if somebody does make, a sudden move or whatever,
Right.
it's like, why did they do that? Oh, it's because that other person in front of them was being an ass or something like that. So there's
Yeah, that's what
usually
my
a
dad
reason.
taught me to be on the road, to like always watch out for everybody else. Know what everybody else is doing. Totally. Hey, Jara, how's it going over there?
Oh, I don't like electronics. Don't like me or something.
I know. I think
know.
you have
I
electromagnetic.
think it's true that some people have that thing where like
You
stuff
do.
doesn't work.
I think you have that.
Yeah, I think stuff doesn't work around me, dude, all the time. It's so irritating.
I think I have the opposite of that. Things work better when
cool.
start messing around with it, because I couldn't tell you how many friends of mine, because I was like the computer whiz amongst my peer group back in the day. I just adopted I've been building computers since, I was in high school. And whenever my friends would have a problem with the computer, okay, can you come over and look at my machine? It's doing this and that. And I'd come over and I'd start looking at a few things, and I'm zipping around the different menus and stuff. And they're like, my computer never goes that fast. Well, how are you doing that? Why would it do that for me?
Oh, you make things go
maybe you should come to my house.
Yeah, you take the whammy off your computer there.
Yeah, nothing ever works for me.
You're in good shape now, though.
Ask your question, the crazy question that you thought of at the sale that day.
Oh, well, I just, I don't know. One day it popped into my head that, like, what if there was something that, like, kidnapped, like, could God be kidnapped or something? Like, what if God needs our help? Because the world is, like, so bad, so evil and everything. So I was like, what if God needs our help? Like, what if the reason everything's so bad is because, like, he's like tied up somewhere or something? How would we know? Is there anything that could, like, how would we know if he needed our help or something?
When she asked me that, at first I was like, you're going to be like, of course, God's not kidnapped. But then if you think about it, it kind of seems like he could be kidnapped. Right.
It does sound like a supernatural TV show plot kind of thing. It's like, hey,
it does, doesn't it? It does sound like definitely like a supernatural TV show plot, like the show Supernatural. You mean?
Yeah,
it does. It does. Yep, where God is Chuck.
Yeah,
that show.
the way that show ended too, it's like, I guess they've done everything else and died a million times. Why wouldn't you be going up against God? I guess that's how it would have to end.
Right? Yeah. Someone hijacked Chuck. Yeah. Yeah. I don't know. It's a good question. Are you guys asking questions?
Yeah, I was just gonna ask a few of them right now, because I only my questions aren't as good as Jara's, but I did come up with a few little bogglers.
How do you imagine that we would be able to help God in that scenario?
Good question, Enzo.
I don't know. I don't know how we would know that he needs help. How would we ever know? Because if we don't ever think he would need help, how would we ever know? How would we know to, like? I don't know.
Look at this. It's like, yeah, this is not a perfect creation anymore. This is not something is wrong with your creations, and you're not doing anything about it.
That's
because I do feel like, I don't know, humans are kind of like where we could get technologically so advanced that, like, Elon Musk could accidentally do something to like that could accidentally hurt some guy or
CERN.
something, you know? I don't know.
CERN, dude.
I just think they should stop messing with stuff.
Yeah.
Right.
It's Elon Musk, I'm not as concerned about. It's those other secret projects that we don't ever hear or would never hear about until, you know, suddenly, you know, a portal opens up in the middle of a mountain and demons are spewing out of it.
That's
But
what they're saying.
the thing with
I'd be one to argue that all projects that are above a certain pay grade, you guys, are probably secret to us. Like we're never going to know about anything like that.
well, that's one of the complaints, you know, about
like
that
expensive things. So there's
right,
all kinds of stuff.
One of the complaints about that the UFO community has had the last few years is how things are classified in the government's, the SAP, special access programs, where it's so secret. And I get we need secret stuff to, you know, when you're working on a new weapon or whatever, some new stealth technology, things like that, I get it. Those things kind of need to be kept secret, but some of that stuff is so secret, there's no oversight on it, so that nobody knows what's going on except the people that are actually hands-on doing it. And where they're almost so outside of all government control and stuff like that, they're kind of their own entity. They're just, you know, this black hole that money gets funneled into, and we don't know what it's being used for, what it's being worked on, what exactly they're doing, things like that.
Government contractors?
What?
Yeah.
So, you know, if they're working on wormhole technology and ended up, you know, opening up something to a black hole and we all get sucked through it, yeah, that would be a problem. But
you know what? And I think that makes me feel like that's why they declared an emergency, that all those disaster declarations for the eclipse, because there was like, I think that they did that because when you do that legally, it puts you into a different legal framework where the government is able to do things that they wouldn't otherwise be able to do if they weren't in that like disaster
mobilizing the National Guard and things like that.
Lots of things. There's actually business, like I mean, everything is set up really, really actually very well if you're an evil, sinister person.
Do you think
because it just kicks in a lot of things. Huh?
Do you think something could have happened that we don't know about? Something could have happened and we won't know. We would never.
Oh, I'm absolutely positive something happened that we don't know about. I'm certain of it. I don't know what, but they don't do things that don't make sense for no reason. It looks like it doesn't make sense to us, but there's a reason why they do things.
Right.
So,
well, I don't know. I've kind of gone about this new way of.
I know that NASA has changed their website since the eclipse. I know that for certain.
Oh, yeah.
I actually sent them a feedback form today. And so they're probably like, I sent them a feedback form and I was mad. I was like, where is your data? Like, what'd you do with your data? Like all the historical data that they had on there, like before the eclipse is gone. And now it's all surface level, like just very surface level stuff. Like where'd all the stuff go? Where'd all the people, the nerd, like I'm a nerd. I need data. I don't want to see all this like surface level news press release crap. I want like actual numbers.
Like what Jen just said
it's
there.
Like, what the heck, man? Right?
Yeah, it's
that's because they're full of crap.
It is.
Jara is on the list now, right? I know. I was like, I know.
Sure. I'm pretty sure.
I probably am.
She probably was already.
Like, you guys lie a lot. I was probably already on a list. She's right.
Yeah, she was probably on a list since.
I was probably on a list in my past life. I'm
sure.
on all kinds of different lists.
For sure. Yeah, I really do think so.
Yeah.
You know you know how they pull out like the really intelligent kids and put them in a different group and they have like a special name for it and stuff. It's turning out, I'm finding a lot of things that are pointing to that was kind of a shady thing to do, and that they were gathering all of you smarty pantses so they know who you are.
Oh, they were totally doing that. I think they gauge like people and kids early for certain like I remember with my daughter, she was in the gifted program, but they said that her like thing, they gave her like a thing that she was gifted in, and I can't even remember what they called it, but I don't even know what the word means. I was like, and she was in like 3rd grade, and it's like, how did they get that from asking questions about shapes?
Right.
Like they ask weird questions too on those tests.
Wow. Luckily,
Oh, was
I
that
wasn't in those smart groups.
the spatial acuity tests and stuff like that? Where they have like a box with the circles on it, and this is what the box looks like when it's unfolded. Can you put it back together? Yeah, that kind of thing.
Stuff like that. Yeah.
I was always pretty good at those.
Were you in those classes?
No, they didn't really have anything like that back in my day. At least not. I was during my school years, I was fairly lazy and just kind of going with the flow kind of thing. It's like, all right, social studies and history, things like that were required me. You need to go home and read this much of the textbook, which I would never do. I was always a better listener than a reader in school. If they talked about it in the class, I could repeat it back almost verbatim. If it's go home on your own time and read it, and we're going to have a test on it, I'd always.
My sister was in those smart groups. She was very gifted. And so she's one of them too, probably on a list somewhere. For sure she is. I'm sure she is. So
yesterday I was telling my mom. Oh, go ahead.
Tell me what you're gonna say. I was gonna ask a question.
Oh, I was just gonna say, I was telling my mom, we were watching something, and I was like, I said, I want to go to see a ballet because I've never been to like an actual ballet. And she's like, all your life, you just want to do everything. You always see something and you want to do it. And I'm like, well, yeah. I was like, what's wrong with that? I was like, hell yeah.
Yeah.
I was like, I like being alive. It's cool.
Mm-hmm.
It's the alternative.
Right?
Yeah.
I was like, there's so many things I want to do. Gosh, I can't even, I could literally probably, I could keep you up for 24 hours straight, and I would not even be done naming all the things that I want to do. All right, Susie, I'm ready.
Different strokes for different folks. Some people just sit around and don't want to do anything, and that's their journey, I guess, too.
Well, I think that depends. Like if you have like a hard-working job where you're, going, and as soon as you get done, you're like, I don't want to do anything. Their idea of vacation is just sitting in front of that TV watching Supernatural again or something like that.
See, to me, vacation is like sanding wood or like making something or like gardening or picking the rocks out of the dirt in my backyard, finding cool rocks. Oh, guys, I found a rock. I have a rock with a guy's face on it. There's a picture in one of the rocks that I found in my yard. Yeah, it looks like a side profile of a serial killer. I think he's a serial killer. I'll have to show it to you. I'll go get it in a little bit. But I found all kinds of cool rocks in my yard. So many cool rocks.
Maybe it's a skeleton.
That's what I would do for vacation time.
Yeah, I don't mind either. I don't mind staying home for vacation either. Just doing what you want to do, not having to do something that you have to do is vacation to me.
Right.
Right. Yep.
All right. Well, are you ready for a question?
Yep.
Yes.
I am.
Okay. If you could reinvent something, anything, what would it be?
Reinvent it?
No, de-invent it. Like make it so it was never invented.
Oh, de-invent it. That's a good question.
Valid question.
Social media for me. It's okay. I feel that's one of those. It's something that you can't avoid if you're going to have this interconnected everybody. Someone would invent it, but it just seems like it. like when you were in high school, you had like a pecking order kind of thing of people where,
Okay.
you had your jocks, you had your nerds, you had your kind of weirdo kids. And then there was that one layer there at the bottom of the kid that like killed the kittens and laughed about it. Yeah, that's who now get all of those levels, now have equal standing on social media, and the ones that are the loudest are those weird kitten people that they end up making the most noise and getting the most attention. It's probably not the best way to put it, but it's
True though.
they're all the filters, the social filters we had as kids with certain people that's like, that guy's a nutball or he's a weirdo and he's going to end up shooting up a place or something, like winding up in jail. So there were certain people you knew, like, this dude is no good and he's going to be nothing but trouble, don't mess with him. And you look him up, like there was a guy like that in my high school that's like, he's just so full of crap, he's never going to amount to anything. And like several years ago, just on a whim, I happened to think about him because he was like a neighbor kid that lived down the street. It's like, I wonder whatever happened to that guy. Started doing a research on him, scraping all the news and stuff like that. It's like, I know he's screwed it up so big, he had to have gotten caught. He was in prison.
Oh shit.
He tried to kidnap somebody by saying that he was with the FBI and he needed them to drive him somewhere after robbing a clothing store.
Whoa.
You called that?
You knew this person?
Yeah, he was like the neighbor kid on my street when I was in high school that is like,
oh my God.
Hi. Yeah, I don't think I'll go with you to go do things that you want to do. And that's exactly how he turned out. He robbed a clothing store. He broke into the clothing store before it opened and I guess stole some ties and some shoes and stuff like that, put it in a giant bag, then ran outside and saw a woman in her car in the parking lot, jumps in the passenger seat and tells her that he was part of the FBI and he needed to confiscate her car and drive me over to that place, and then told her to get out and then took off with her car. It was bananas.
That is scary. Yeah.
Wow.
Social media, that's a good one.
I would de-invent the federal government.
Good answer. Tell us why. Again.
Well, it's unnecessary.
Right.
I think that states could be united and yet sovereign. I don't think a federal government is necessary. It's kind of I don't know, double dipping.
I don't believe they're doing what they say that they're doing. That's why. If they were doing what they said they were doing, that would be different. But I think we people can all get together and do a much better job than they're doing.
I think it would be great if there could be a campaign where the other opponents, they're not just ripping each other apart. I think that makes me want to vomit, all these commercials on TV, especially when they're not completely accurate and they're all misleading. And then you have them on TV where there's kids that see the commercials and then they have to ask questions and they wonder why these grown-ups are like it doesn't make any sense to me.
That actually happened before with me in my life. Like when Timmy was little, they were mudslinging, and he asked me one day, "Why are they that way, Mom?" And I told him, I tell my son the truth.
Yeah,
I tell my son the truth, dude. Me and my
it's embarrassing, and it's like if the federal government is supposed to be over something, then you'd think that they would act like it.
Mm-hmm.
Like seriously.
Unfortunately, it's kind of like its own business now. It's because back when
it is kind of it is like that.
1776, the idea of being a congressman or anything like that, it was a temporary thing. It's like you're going to do this for a couple of years in Washington D.C. and then go back to your farm or your business or whatever it was.
You were supposed to be a civil servant,
right? And you weren't supposed to be there forever.
Mm-hmm.
And you weren't supposed to use it to make extra money.
Right. okay, we're going to be
Right.
voting on this bill or whatever next week to cut off funding for some program that you happen to have stock in, and you sell it all off
Right.
before you go and vote to
Mhm.
nix it.
Right.
It's like, that's just totally wrong. You shouldn't be doing,
Right.
you and your immediate family should not be doing any kind of stock transfers or anything like that over something that you literally can control the outcome of. That's,
Yeah, that's
Right.
know,
Congressmen and women and any civil servant, they should not be able to make over a certain amount of money. They just shouldn't. And they should have to also pay, they shouldn't have it to where they don't understand what it's like to be a regular person when we pay their dry cleaning for their assistance.
Yeah.
I mean, have you read the appropriations bill? It's ridiculous. It's blah, it makes me want to throw up.
Yeah, that part, the part that you were telling me about how they just sneak shit in there that people are agreeing to and that they don't even know they're agreeing to it.
all
That's not cool.
omnibus
Yeah.
bills are ridiculous.
Yeah,
Thousands
they're
of
so bad.
pages, and you're given 10 or 12
Oh, which
hours
leads me to another
vote.
valid question.
Oh, let's have it.
Super valid. How are they reading everything that they're passing? How?
They don't.
Then what? Then why are we passing laws we're not reading? Are we using AI to pass our laws then? Like, what are they doing?
No, it's everyone sticks in their little pork project in the middle of it that will get something for their state or region or whatever, so that they're getting something out of it. And because it's thousands of pages long, hope that nobody notices that they're going to devote millions of dollars to the study of if shrimp can migrate, and having shrimp on a treadmill as an
Right,
experiment.
and they haven't even read
That was
the
one of
whole
those things.
bill.
Yeah, and it's
Like,
because it's
that's not
impossible.
okay.
It isn't. And it's just those, and we're so polarized now. I mean, I'd love that if we had more than just the two parties, to be honest. Yes, there's the third independent thing, but that's not really a thing. Because they're so polarized, and because some of those people have been up there their entire lives, like 50 years, and they're just, you can't get them out of there now. So if they came out with like a thing,
their only goal is to be a politician. They don't even have
right.
You know what I mean?
All
Like,
about
that's their
power and
goal.
money.
Like, that's it.
Yeah, it's
right.
It's not about doing the right thing or what's good for the country or their constituents or whatever. It's, how does this benefit me? And
right.
Everything is geared towards whatever their next election is. They win that election, okay, they may take a year off, but the other 3 years, it's vote for me in 3 years, 2 years, 1 year, next month, vote for me. So that all of their time is spent trying to stay in office rather than do their thing. Whereas if they had term limits, you've got 10 years, 12 years, whatever it would be, that's your time. It doesn't matter if you're the best legislator on the planet. That's your time, and that's all you get.
Mm-hmm.
So they can't build up these people that build up millions and millions for themselves, and just crappy little laws that only benefit them.
Right.
It's awful.
And there's no honesty. Like, there's no honesty, like none. Like, I don't even understand. And it's so not fair, because when you're like not a lying sleazeball or whatever, you have to like follow all these rules, like paying taxes. We're paying taxes. I disagree with murdering people. I don't agree with like killing anybody. I don't agree with casualties of war. I don't agree with women dying because we dropped bombs somewhere. I don't agree with spending so much money on making weapons when we could be spending money on teaching or like programs in schools to teach our children how to grow their own food so that they have a way to survive if like something happens. Like, we should be spending money on other things.
Well, I agree, but that's antithetical to what they want. They want all of us to be dependent on them. They don't want you to be independent. They don't want you to learning how to grow your own vegetables. And,
exactly.
having a
do
farm
not.
with your own chickens, so you have chickens and eggs and stuff like that available to you. They don't want you to fully understand right out of high school getting a gigantic loan for college that you can't possibly pay back in any kind of
Right.
reasonable time with whatever job you get. It's
We know that we know all this. So like, why aren't we doing anything about it? Because like, is it, if we just stay like this, it's not going to get any better. And like, I don't know. Can you guys imagine a future, like for real, like the only way that can be fixed is because really the people really do have the power. But we have to actually like be all, wait a minute, we can't, this is not right. We have to say something. We have to say something.
People are afraid to do it though. They're afraid to do that.
Most people are too busy doing their own thing, raising their family, working their job or whatever, to pay any attention to it, because it's one of those, I can't do anything about it anyways, so screw it. So, and whenever election time comes around,
that was what something would happen.
What would happen if nobody voted?
Then whoever the family members are of that person running would go out and vote. It's like, okay, we got 5 votes for this guy and 0 for the other guy, so that guy still wins. It's I understand that I'm frustrated, they all suck, I'm not going to vote, but there's usually some.
Well, yeah, but no, I'm not saying what if I didn't vote. I mean, everybody'd have to not vote. But
everybody would have to do it together, or else it wouldn't work. Everybody would have to stand together, or else it wouldn't work.
Everybody would have to stand together, right?
Not to get too,
and not in a mean way. They would just have to not vote, or like not. I don't know. Just curious.
Not to go skewing off of this thing, but I feel that's how we ended up with Trump for his first term, where it's like, you know what? All you regular politicians suck. This guy is the guy from TV. I'll take him over your rotten ass. And that's how we ended up with Trump reforms, where it's like, because people were so frustrated with regular politicians with their constant doublespeak and foolishness that, okay, this guy's not tied to any of that. I'll take him over you. And boy, they just clobbered the guy. I understand, maybe not liking the guy because he's certainly abrasive, but we had 4 years of peace. We had the best economy we've had in a long time. We had the Abraham Accords. When Israel got attacked last week, a lot of the surrounding countries were helping them out with some of their surveillance and detecting some of that stuff coming in at them before they did. We never would have had that without the Abraham Accords. So that's giant. It's not peace in the Middle East, the way it gets really ballooned up, but it's something. It's certainly a step in the right direction of getting people to work together a little bit that are neighbors.
Well, work together at war.
If somebody's attacking you, I would hope my neighbor lets me know if they see something before me, which is what was going on. Because that's the other part of it is there are bad actors in the world that mean to do us harm. There are people in this world that would kill all of us just because we don't look like them, we don't sound like them, we're not from where they are. Or a million other variations on our differences. Yeah.
We can only kill our bodies though.
Yeah, can't kill our soul.
And they're happy to do that, and they will if they given the chance. And so you have to defend against that. That doesn't mean that we need to start up every 2-bit war all over the world and support a side every time. It's crazy, some of the stuff that we get mixed up in.
Maybe there should be a machine that just kills people as soon as they think about killing people. Boom, take you out. Like if you even think about killing somebody, it just takes you out, and then you're, no problem.
That's crazy too, Jara.
What?
That's
We
wild
need,
too.
we need the big Klaatu robot that just starts wiping people out if they start getting out of hand. And from the old movie,
Oh man,
what was
it would
that?
be,
No, uh,
it'd be a hard job being God. That's for sure. I would
oh,
lay waste to too many people.
Right.
well, we talked a little bit about that earlier about how, what if he's been kidnapped or whatever. But
Mhm.
the deal is he gives mankind free will to do what they want. And well,
Exactly.
there certainly are some stories where like, all right, Sodom
Right.
and Gomorrah, none of that, and wipes them all out. But it's for the most part a hands-off policy from God, and
I agree with you there.
I appreciate. We could make our own mistakes and figure out how to fix our own stuff, but
Right.
it's getting a little lopsided here on smaller groups that are those dysfunctional groups, those weird kitten people that we talked about a minute ago, are growing and have access to better
I'm
stuff to
starting to
do
feel like
evil
the
with.
world is a weird kitten person, and I'm
There's a
like,
lot. There's certainly a lot of people that have gotten into that state of mind.
I mean, if you just look at the movies and like the TV shows and everything, look at how, like, I mean, look at it with an honest heart. Like, take the desensitized whatever out of yourself for a second and look at it, and look at how disturbing everything is on. I mean, not just a little bit. It can't just be like somebody gets hit. No, it's got to be like
Are you
ripping stuff out.
Enzo, are you playing Helldivers? Who plays Helldivers? Anybody in the chat?
I've heard of it. I know a lot of people love the game.
Yeah, it's
what is that?
Yes, Jen. Thanos was not wrong.
I can see Thanos' side as well, Jen. Yes, I can.
Right. I can too.
Because, of course, Thanos, bad guy from the Marvel movies, where his idea was everyone fights because there's not enough resources. So eliminate half the people. That doubles your resources.
I don't believe in the not enough resources thing, though.
Yeah,
well,
they don't want. They want.
We're talking on a galactic scale. We're talking on a galactic scale here for the Marvels. So,
but they are trying to make us feel that way.
Because that was the deal in the Marvel movies when Thanos did the snap. Half the people in the entire universe disappeared, turned to dust. It wasn't just on Earth; it was everywhere.
You know what? What if the truth is stranger than fiction? Or how do you say that? Did I say that right? Truth is stranger than fiction. What if that's like right? Like, what if there's really shit like the Marvel people, the Marvel movies?
Truth is stranger than fiction,
right? What if there was? What if it is like
right?
That Marvel movies. What if they're trying?
I imagine it's probably weirder than that. That's what I think about
That's
contact
crazy.
with some alien race somewhere else. It's going to be so weird we can't even comprehend what the hell they're doing. And to be honest, they would say the same thing about us. It's like, wait a minute. Everything that we've just discussed about politics and everything else is like, why are you doing it that way?
All right. Okay, I have to go under the desk, everybody.
What would you do if a spaceship, if a UFO landed, and then the people that got out were human? Dun, dun, dun.
Honestly, I just 2 weekends ago, I was up in Geneseo, Kansas, where we have the Kansas Geneseo UFO Museum. Where basically there was a doctor there that in the 50s and 60s was big into UFOs, and he did a lot of his own personal investigations out of this tiny little town in rural Kansas. And they celebrate his place every year. I'm going to actually go speak there this July. But it's one of those things that back in the 50s, all of the alien contacts were all human. They looked just like regular human beings. And it wasn't until you start creeping into the mid 60s and 70s that you start seeing the grays and stuff like that popping up as more popular. Now, back in the 50s and 60s, because the saucer would come out of the sky, it would land in the field, a couple of basically human looking, they'd be quirky and weird, don't get me wrong, they weren't 100% pass, but asking strange questions, especially social type stuff. It's like, why do you need this food? Why are you putting these green pieces of paper in that guy's hand to give you some water? What all these things?
Really? So that's the type of thing. That's what the people said they were asked, those types of questions.
Oh yeah, and they'd give them a ride. They're like, all right, hey, do you want to go see Mars? See our joint at Mars? See, that was the other thing is all back in the 50s, all the alien contacts were all within our own solar system. Oh, I'm from Venus. Oh, I'm from Jupiter. Oh, I'm from Mars. Stuff like that. There was a lot of that. But once we started getting, the space race started heating up and we started sending probes out to these different places and seeing some pictures of them and just seeing rocks and nothing else. That's when the ideas kind of changed. That's when it kind of transmogrified into something outside of our solar system, something very, sort of humanoid, but very different, where that's where you start seeing, grays and stuff like that popping
in. That's interesting.
Yeah, it's pretty wild. There's a lot of this museum up in Kansas or Geneseo, Kansas. It's got a lot of stories. He has one whole thing that we read on. I was on Karen's Shore, of course, last Saturday where we discussed the whole thing. So go check that out. Doof Paranormal. Mm-hmm. And there was an entire thing about this saucer, a saucer of spacemen, to use the words that they used back then, where the ship landed and 3 people came out and the dog ran under the nearest tree and immediately gave birth to 4 or 5 puppies. And they're like, we can't take the dog back on the ship to go do our thing this short after, short a period of time after birth like this. So you keep you human guy, you keep our dogs and give all the dogs away. Keep the white one because all the puppies were a brownish color, but there was one that was white. Keep the white one for yourself, but give the other dogs away to good homes and stuff like that. And they said they were all from Venus. So this guy had a dog from Venus that he would comb its hair, brush it out all the time, and he would save the hair. And they have a lock of Queenie was the name of the dog. They have a lock of Queenie's white hair and on display there at this museum.
Why not?
The dog from Venus. Is it real? I never question anybody's contact kind of thing because I expect it to be totally weird and bizarre and not make sense because that's how an alien civilization would be.
Yeah, that's why it's called alien. But you know what? I think, why not? Why not? Why not? We can't think that we're the only ones, that there are beings out there. And I say, why not? And I say, good.
My husband and I were watching, he was showing me Elon Musk was talking at something and he doesn't believe in aliens. Did you guys know that?
He's lying.
It's fine.
He's lying.
Well, that's what he said.
He's lying, dude. He's lying because he is an alien, dude. I believe he is.
They don't believe in him either.
Yeah.
He's interesting. He doesn't believe in aliens, and it doesn't sound like he believes in God either. So I don't know what he believes in. I think I don't know. Maybe he thinks. Maybe he's maybe he knows. Maybe he's I don't know. Maybe that's why he doesn't believe in stuff. Maybe he knows.
They say that. A lot of people say that he's like the Antichrist or something. I think that he's probably he's a rich guy that does a lot of.
I'm afraid of him.
Ideas out there. Yeah.
He has something called Swarm, and he has a bunch of things up in the sky, and then he wants to put chips in people's brains, and then he's probably going to connect that to the things in the sky. Yeah. So, yeah. I'd say he's probably not. Yep, I'd say Sarah is correct. I agree with you there, Sarah.
Yes, I would agree with Sarah.
I agree with her.
There you go. Say it.
I think
It-
he's the guy that's going to get our ass to Mars, to be honest. I think he's the only one that's kind of taking our space program seriously. NASA certainly has given up.
I think you might be right.
I think he's
might
trying to break out of the.
He's trying to do something. He's just, and it's everybody's letting him do it. So just because he's rich, he's just a rich guy, you guys.
He's a businessman.
He's a rich,
applies to
smart
this
guy.
stuff and does it. Yeah. I mean, it was only a few weeks ago. I videoed one of his capsules re-entering the atmosphere right over my house. So to know that a private businessman is responsible for that, it's just like that kind of blows my mind a little bit that someone can do something like that.
Well, he has a lot of money. So,
and he's very smart.
You have companies and a lot.
He's got a system that works versus the federal government. Okay, they decommissioned all the space shuttles because they were, basically they were using them like a rental truck and beat the crap out of them like you do with a rental. And
I agree with Sarah again.
Oh,
what you say now?
He's going to get us into something we cannot get out of. You know what happens to the curious cat.
That's what makes me. That's how I feel every time I see his rocket things. I'm like, yo, shouldn't we all get to vote before we just send all this stuff? Why do we get why does one person get to just shoot up a bunch of stuff to be up in our sky? What if those fell?
Because we can afford it.
Those can fall, right?
Oh, yeah.
Fall, right?
He'd get sued out of existence and not have a penny to his name then, if that were to happen.
Yeah, but people could die. A lot of people, his car, Tesla's. My daughter's friend, her neighbor, a Tesla just exploded, boom, in the garage and caught the house on fire.
Oh my God! Yeah,
dude, they're
those Tesla batteries. They are, bleeding edge, but they're the old style lithium cobalt style batteries that those things get overcharged in a certain state, especially when it gets really hot, and they will catch on fire and you can't put it out. It is,
right.
It's ugly.
Yeah.
I've
heard about
they've since created new. Believe me, I want my own I want a self-driving van that I can put a cot in the back and just set coordinates. Okay, go to Phoenix, Arizona. I'm going to go visit the girls, and I'll just go take a nap and read a book in the back while it does all the driving and play video games on a laptop in the back or something like that. It's oh, are we there? Okay. That would be great.
I'm afraid to do that.
I'm afraid of those cars that drive themselves, because what if it rams right into a brick wall just because one day? That'd be messed up.
It's not perfect, that's for sure. There've been a lot of problems with it.
And they're hackable.
One of those things is, that's everything is hackable. Your phone is hackable. Whatever device
everything
we're using to talk
to you can't hack me. Well.
Yes, I want the Night Industry 2000. That's right. I want a big white van with a little red light on the front. I'm not perming my hair though, like Hasselhoff. The black leather jacket.
Right?
That was an excellent show.
Yeah, I don't know. I think convenience is scary to me, There's something scary about things that are so convenient. I don't know. I will never use a self-driving car ever.
Oh,
I don't like it.
Even
can you highlight Batmom's last comment? I worked at the Gigafactory. Do you know how many freaking defective batteries thrown in the desert by Tesla? That's public land. You can't get any speck of dust or particle, I'm guessing, to get into the battery during manufacturing. It will go boom.
Dang.
Yeah. That's the thing is,
wow.
Our battery technology, a way to store that energy, is not very great, and it's certainly not 100% stable and safe. compared to, and it's the only comparison I can make, compared to a gallon of gasoline and versus whatever, lithium iron phosphate or whatever, which is not what they use in Tesla. They still use the lithium cobalt type batteries. That it's tough to replace, but you have to have those baby steps to get up to the really good stuff. It takes a while to innovate and create, that perfect type, and there's never a perfect thing. There's always going to be something better a generation or so later. But you have to take those baby steps before you can get to it.
We could run cars on water, and water doesn't go boom.
Well, the way the water cars worked is they broke the water, H2O, 2 hydrogens, 1 oxygen, is they go through basically an electrolysis where it separates the hydrogen and the oxygen. So the hydrogen is the thing you can burn as fuel, and then the oxygen just gets spit off into the atmosphere. So we get more oxygen, and then we burn the hydrogen as fuel. So you need basically a hydrogen tank, which the alarmist will immediately go, that's what happened to the Hindenburg, because they used hydrogen and all that. But if you compare an equal amount of hydrogen to an equal amount of gasoline, and again, you can go back to the Hindenburg example. Boof, one big flash and it's gone. Imagine if that Hindenburg was full of gasoline and it caught on fire. Now the entire area within 15 miles is probably going to get incinerated versus one flash and it's gone. I think in the long run, hydrogen would still be better if you're going to go that route, because that's how
didn't that one guy invent a car that ran on water and he was murdered?
I also heard that one of the ships in the Navy, it runs on water out there and then in the water.
I don't know about that.
Really?
I don't know all the details. So.
See, it takes in the water, the seawater somehow or something? Something
like that.
Well, and the problem with that is, especially seawater, is incredibly filthy, dirty. It's not just, regular tap water. Actually, even regular tap water is still way too dirty to get a clean combustion kind of thing like you would expect, like what we get with gas. Gasoline does spit out a bunch of crap at the end, don't get me wrong. But over time, you're going to have a buildup of all the minerals, and, like your calciums and stuff like that, depending on what your water source is. So you need to have demineralized water.
Yeah, somebody that probably have a whole purification thing on the boat,
I can tell you exactly what it is, because we use the exact same process on the old school engines for the plane I used to work on for 24 years. We use demineralized water. It was like 3 or 4 parts per million, where there were these monstrous, almost small car size filters that you had to run water through to filter out all the impurities, where it was, for the most part, literally just plain H2O that came out at the end. And it was still dangerous, because for us to pick up a glass and drink some water, your body needs those minerals and stuff like that in there. When you drink straight H2O, it'll actually leach all of those minerals out of your body into it, and where you lose that stuff. So you can't just drink straight demineralized H2O. You can't do it. I mean, you could for a short period of time, but eventually it will end up killing you, because it ends up leaching. Because water loves bonding to all those your calcium and irons, things like that. All the stuff that we find like in our groundwater, our natural water, where if you went out and found a creek or a pond and were to analyze it. It loves bonding to all of these other mineral things, and our bodies are used to absorbing that, and that's actually how we get some of our basic minerals and things like that, because you're not going out and chewing rocks, but your body still needs iron, which you do get
Right.
from other things which develop iron. Like that's all of your
My plants are
muscle
getting
tissue,
additional
your
iron
blood,
from
and
the
stuff like
rust on my box spring.
There you go.
There you go, multi-purpose. But if you drink demineralized water, it'll leach all that stuff out of you, and it'll kill you, because you're gonna just be a dried up husk no matter how much of that you drink. If that's your primary water source, yeah, you can't do it. But it's a big process
If you
to
drink
make
magnified structured water, it'll do the opposite. I just don't know how to do
too much. Yeah. So there's problems with any kind of thing that you build where it's not going to be perfect. There is no perfect imaginary thing yet. I'm sure there's some stuff that's way better than that, but you have to do those incremental steps to build up to that, to learn the science and learn what works and what doesn't work, which is where we are with like Tesla's batteries now, where I'm sure 20 years from now, they're like, oh my God, I can't believe they were using that. They didn't realize how dangerous it was. Much like how today we would look back at gasoline from the 40s, and it's like, oh my God, they were just dumping pure lead into the atmosphere. What was wrong with those people? Didn't they know? They did, after a fashion.
I think in 20 years, we're going to have a vapor canopy, and a lot of the technology we have now isn't going to work.
Vapor canopy. What's a vapor canopy, Jara? Explain. I know what it is, but explain.
It's from like a lot of volcanism. If there's a lot of volcanism, it creates like a vapor canopy that falls over the earth, so the ambient temperature gets cooler everywhere. Things get big because the oxygen saturation goes up, and there's not such a stark difference between day and night. During the day, it gets kind of like a violet light, but a fog starts to build first thing in the morning. So there's always like a dew everywhere.
Is that what happened for the Ice Age? Is that what happened for the Ice Age? Or
I don't believe in the Ice Age, but I believe that our poles were caused by flash freezing when the vapor canopy collapsed. That's what I believe, but
that's what created the Ice Age.
I don't believe in the Ice Age.
It didn't exist.
I don't believe in the Ice Age.
It didn't happen.
What was that?
It didn't happen the way they say it did? Is that what you mean? Like,
I believe that there used to be a vapor canopy. So there was water in the air above us, up in our mesosphere, like there still is now, but there was more. And I think that fell. And that's what caused our polar caps. Because things were flash frozen. There's no way to you can't. Yeah. So there's a series of books that I would like to get, but they're expensive, by William Corliss, and he's a guy that documented all kinds of different phenomenons and anomalies all over the world, and there's like all kinds of evidence that point away from Ice Age theory. So that's been documented by more. So ancient, not in this year's last 50 years, our mainstream today science doesn't agree with that. But before, scientists from before, they did. There's a lot of sources that all talked about the same thing, which is very different from what our mainstream talks about today. But I think that the vapor canopy will be returning, and I don't think that all of the technology that we have today is going to work in a vapor canopy, like solar panels. So don't get solar panels on your house unless you own the panels. Everybody own the panels, and you have to have something to store the power, or it does not add value to your house. What was that?
People are renting them?
Yeah.
Really? Most people have a solar lease that is usually 25 years long.
I didn't know that.
I am not kidding you. I'm serious.
Big time,
And they don't
especially
even
if
own the
you're-
panels at the end of the 25-year lease most of the time.
Are you serious? So at
And
the end of
they're
25 years, if they don't want to pay up, they come out there and rip them
Yep.
off your house? Get out of here. I had
Yeah.
no idea
It's
that
a
was
or you
bad
even a
can, I
deal.
thing.
guess, renew your lease. I don't. Yeah, and I don't think
Solar
that
panels
not
aren't
here
that
here in
expensive
Phoenix.
anymore.
Here in Phoenix, it doesn't feel like solar is regulated either, because I know personally several people that have been completely ripped off by solar companies,
Yeah,
solar panel
bad.
companies.
Like it's ridiculous.
But I
bad.
can tell you as a realtor that if you have panels on your house and you have a solar lease, you're actually taking away from your resale value, because now your buyer has to also qualify to take your lease over in addition to the house. So because interest rates are high right now, that knocks a lot of people out of that house. And so unless you own the panels outright and you have a way to store the power, it doesn't add anything to your house, and you still are going to have an electric bill. So like, don't fall for it. And
Hey,
there aren't
They can take your house,
there's not
Jara?
tax benefits either. What was that?
Can they take your house if you don't pay the, or can they take your house? The
They
people,
can't
the
take your
solar
house, but they
Okay.
can definitely take you to court, and they can file you can have a judgment that has to be paid. And like, if you sell your house, it would have to be paid. But no, they're considered like a credit card, so they're not able to take your house
okay.
because of the homestead. Yeah, that your house is protected from like credit card companies. But yeah, solar panels aren't a good idea, guys. Not a good idea. So
Some people got in on
yeah,
a good
it
deal.
sucks
Though.
because I've seen so many people, and you can tell here, like when a salesman was really good in a neighborhood, because like there'll be a patch of neighbors that all have panels, and then like, so it's like yeah, it's just,
Yeah,
it frustrates me.
and they're just wired into the grid, and it just feeds back into the grid, right? It's not like if power goes
Right.
off in their house, if the grid goes down, it's not like they've got
Right.
power.
There's no way to
They've got
store
power.
it unless they have a storage. Right. Unless they
Yeah.
have a storage battery, those are like, I think they're pretty expensive. Yeah. Yep.
It
And so like,
depends
you can
how
also
many.
hear, I think APS or SRP, one of the electric companies here they will put panels on for you, and they tell you like, it's like, hey, we'll put them on your house for you, da da da. But then they get to control your thermostat.
Oh,
And people don't know that, and they can like control it remotely.
That's messed up.
So they'll like, so if it's like at a peak time or whatever for them, and they need power, they can change the temperature of your house.
Oh, yeah.
to light. I don't. Yeah.
I have
yeah.
a question.
It's
Do you
weird.
guys think that energy will ever be free the way it's supposed to be? Because it is free.
Oh, thank you, sir. What was that?
Do you think that energy will ever be free? Will somebody will figure it out and like let the cat out of the bag that it's free, that everybody can have
Yes,
free energy? You think it'll happen?
I do think it will be.
For right now, like small scale stuff, like what I'm planning with my van is if I had about 600 to 800 watts of solar on the roof, which I could fit on the top of my van, the van that I'm planning to buy someday, if I could ever find it, would be enough to, with the battery system that I would set up inside and stuff like that. Basically, I could run like this computer that I'm talking on right now and have a microwave and stuff like that inside my little van. And for the most part, you would have to account in for like, cloudy days or things like that. And there's other ways to charge it. Like my current plan is to go in stages with it, where I wouldn't even add solar panels. I would have it running basically straight off of the alternator to charge my batteries while I'm driving.
Mm-hmm.
And if I get a big enough battery system, that actually might be enough where I don't even need solar batteries, or solar panels. But it's not that expensive in a, we're talking about a regular size van, not even like a giant, one of those giant like Amazon delivery vans where you have an acre worth of space on the roof to put all kinds of solar and everything else. But 600 to 800 watts with a fairly large battery for more so than you would get with some of those independent units you can buy from various places. It would it's still pretty doable. That's kind of all you would need to kind of to survive off grid kind of a thing. So to design a house, to have you would obviously need a much larger system, and you would need more batteries and things like that because once you start getting into running like stoves and washer and dryer and things like that are just giant energy monsters that would suck up your battery pretty quick. You would certainly need a larger system than that, but it seems like it wouldn't be that difficult to get. And right now, the newest tech as far as solar goes are bifacial solar panels, where it's basically a solar panel on the front, your standard one, but it also has solar panels on the backside. So if you've got a permanent display where you've got your solar panels mounted on the ground, say, or whatever, paint the back of it white so light is reflecting off onto the backside of it. You're getting like 1.5 times out of the normal size of your thing, so that the normal size of your solar array, whatever it is, you're getting half as much more back on the same amount of real estate that your solar panel would be. It gets better every year as far as how efficient they are. We're still not at that magical point of like how a plant is that can totally survive, thrive, and grow.
Why don't they make an
propagate.
entire building out of panels?
That's actually the future plan for. Actually, I believe it's New York has a new thing. If they were to build a new skyscraper, all the windows would have solar style windows. You can still look
That's
through.
That's why
it.
I was like,
It's
why
a
don't they
real
do
window.
that?
They should.
Couldn't they do that with cars and then just use the solar to power the car? Like
It
make
still
the
wouldn't be
car out of
enough.
panels?
Like my plan for we'll say like we'll use Tesla as the example because they have the best battery system to power an electric car right now. I get it's got problems and blah blah blah, but we'll just use that as the standard.
Hey, they're pretty badass though. I mean, they are.
They're pretty slick. I mean, they're picking up ghosts in the graveyard. So
yeah, dude.
with their auto drive thing, that's a whole other story. But it's to power your Tesla vehicle, which is all electric. You'd have to have probably in the 3,000 to 4,000 watt worth of solar panels, and again, that depends on where you live. Like down where your girls live, you probably could get away with about half that. But if you live further north, where you don't get the direct sun exposure like you get down where you're at, you would need way more to collect just the little bit you can get. That's why solar isn't everywhere. It doesn't work that well everywhere. If you're in Seattle where it rains all the time, your solar panel isn't going to do you that much good. You're barely creating enough power off of your solar panel to pop a bag of popcorn to compare to like down where you live, around the middle in Arizona area, that it'll power your whole house all day, kind of an idea for the same size solar array. So and the same thing can be said of wind power and stuff like that. I live in Kansas. There's a lot. Nebraska sucks and Oklahoma blows. So creates a wind across Kansas. That's the joke. is a joke. Relax, everybody. There's a lot of wind, and we do have a lot of wind farms here in Kansas, which is great as long as the wind blows. How would they store the power in the car? The whole car would have to be a battery. And that is one of the issues with electric vehicles is the entire underside of the vehicle is a battery. It's a series of batteries that our battery tech in general isn't super great. It's better than your classic NiCad type battery. It's light years beyond that, but it's still not good enough to at least I feel you can't just drive the vehicle across country. And to collect solar with our current solar technology, it's not like, even if you had like a van where it was just this giant flat roof and you pulled solar over the entire top, it might give you a couple of extra hours of driving range, but not much more. You're still going to have to stop. You're either going to have to sit there for an entire day for the solar to plug in, to charge it. At best, a day. It's probably more like 2 or 3 days. So we're not in the Jetsons future that we would like to think we are, but you have to take those baby steps to get to that level. It's because you learn as you go, kind of a thing.
Yeah, I definitely think everybody should have those ones that you're talking about for your van. Like, I think we should all just have some on hand. Those, I mean, like the ones that you can buy for camping and stuff.
Oh yeah, I've got some small, like 50 watt style things that can charge my phone. It can charge my. It's got USB connection straight on it where I can charge my tablet and stuff like that. My tablet has a ton of books, a ton of videos. It's got all the all total backup of Wikipedia, which I need to do the newest version to get the most recent one. But because you can download and save to a like a tablet or whatever, an old phone that you don't use anymore. You can put all of Wikipedia on there. Mm-hmm. Yes, there's certainly parts of Wikipedia that people alter and stuff like that. For the basics, though, it's okay.
It's a good idea.
Yeah, that's one of those survivalist kind of things. I'm like half a prepper.
Half a prepper.
I'm going to ask ChatGPT to give me directions on how to light a light bulb with a potato. And then I'm just going to scale that and make it bigger.
Oh, I have something right here. I saved a video on our thing right here. Watch. Let's see what it is really quick. I will. It's something I saved for you,
then I'm
Jara.
going to be probably getting off.
Okay, just look at this really quick.
Yay,
we're talking about
videos, nerd videos.
So like,
What
I don't
is
know
he
what he's
doing?
doing. It looks like he's just
Basically,
dropping the
He's
thing.
just like doing this and like whap that.
You know what? I
get
don't
that
know
one.
if that's the right video that I wanted to,
Ba-
but yeah.
basically,
But
what he was doing was he's making a Wi-Fi antenna by wrapping bare wire. I hope by the end of that thing he wasn't plugging it into anything because it would explode in his face.
How does that make a
Right.
Wi-Fi antenna?
I don't know, but it's taking. It was taking too
It's
long.
like any kind of, if you take any piece of wire and make it big enough where it's going to accept signals in, it will act like an antenna. As a kid, I remember getting like the little Radio Shack, little diode AM radio kits where you had to has like a little spring thing you'd pull over, you'd plug the little diode in, and then you'd plug it into the other. And you had, for it to pick up any kind of AM radio, the explicit directions were to take a wire 100 feet long and run it up the side of a tree and loop it up around one of the upper branches of the tree to pick up the AM transmission from with no batteries or any of that other stuff. And it would work.
Wiring. Really?
Sure.
I'm gonna try them.
There's stories out there of people that have fillings in their teeth, and because of the configuration of their shape of their jaw and their teeth and stuff like that, are, if they're like right next to like an AM FM radio transmitter, like right next to the radio station, like in the parking lot, they can pick up the vibrations of the radio frequencies in their head, and they can hear the music.
There was a Gilligan's Island episode like that.
There was a Gilligan's Island episode like that.
There was. I remember that. Yeah, where he opened his mouth.
It's true.
And the video would come on. I love Gilligan's Island so much.
I know. They don't make them like that. But yeah, that's probably why they made that little story, because it was happening, little things like that. Hey guys, radio waves are crazy.
I'm gonna try to pick up a signal, guys.
Right, I know.
It's
getting late, you guys. So I think it's time to shut her down. And that was a nice talk about stuff, that we really just stuff.
I'm gonna try to pick up some signals.
Yeah.
All right.
You can just set a loop of a giant looper. Let's go, Bat Mom. We're going off grid.
Yeah, let's all go off grid, dude. I'll go with you.
Right? I want to go off grid too.
Part of my half prepper setup is I have a EMF protection type bag thing that has an old tablet that I didn't use anymore because I bought a new one that was better and faster. But I put on the old one a lot of old books, a lot of that download of Wikipedia and all that stuff, and a small little solar panel to charge it. So even if a giant electromagnetic pulse were to hit, I just got to open that up. I can charge my little tablet, and it can tell me how to rebuild civilization. So,
see. Well, I'm not worried anymore. You told me that, Enzo.
Right. I'm going to say this.
Right. Well,
fine. I'll do it. I'll save every civilization again.
But no federal government this time, okay?
Yeah.
No federal government on the second go round.
Certainly limited.
The president, and then you make like me and Jara the vice presidents.
No, that's.
I wouldn't want to be president. I don't want any responsibility.
It'd be fun. Just kidding.
I don't know. I think I would turn into an evil dictator. I'd smite people.
Not.
I don't think I should be allowed to have.
And to be honest, that is kind of true. Is a lot of people don't realize the power and control that they have over others, and when they get it, it changes you. Where you have the ability to affect so many lives, and you turn evil, kind of a thing. It's addictive for some people, and that's what we see in Washington D.C. is you get people that are addicted to that level of power and responsibility that they can't imagine it any other way. It doesn't even money isn't the equivalent of I have some sway of power over all of these people, is kind of how they envision it in their head.
perverted.
I think God is just he's a lot more patient, and I wouldn't be drunk with the power. I would get tired of people that lie and people that are cruel. I would just be like, be gone.
Yeah,
Like, you
I would
get
be
no
like the Queen
chances.
of
You do it
Hearts
once and
on
you're gone.
Alice in Wonderland.
Bam.
Off with your head.
Right. Up with their
Off with
heads.
your freaking head. Okay.
Yeah.
All right, everybody.
Yeah,
Thank you for joining us. If you're new here and you're watching us for the first time, please click the subscribe button and tune in again. Everybody hit the thumbs up
right.
for us. And
We're
everybody
gonna-
And next time I will be in a field with wires and potatoes and light bulbs.
Ooh,
I bet you she
nice.
does.
Got your own power plant there. We're gonna save up our pennies, and we're gonna get a 1967 Chevy Impala, and we're gonna go save God.
Yeah, because it's kidnapped.
Absolutely.
All right, everybody.
We're saving Chuck. Chuck needs our
Here
help.
we come, Chuck.
Good night.
Good night, everybody.